Hello, I am Bicycle Walrus. This is a trailer analysis, part 4. Part 4. Think about that, part 4. This has been a very long 2-minute trailer analysis. In any particular case, I do have a question for everybody before we get started today. And here is the question, because this has come to mind and a few people are talking about it. Because Sean is tweeting, and he's tweeting emojis. And when Sean Murray tweets emojis, things happen. Hype is spun. People get excited. Everyone loses their minds. So here's the question. What are the chances that Hello Games and Sean Murray releases Light No Fire before the end of 2023? Is it possible? Well, here's some speculation, or maybe some food for thought for you. After what happened with the release of No Man's Sky, Sean Murray, having been ridiculed and called a liar and insulted forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and even still to this day, people hold the release of No Man's Sky against him, would he run the risk of having a very, very long pre-release cycle for Light No Fire, or would he make it as short as possible? After all, if it's short and he only promises a few basic features, such as explorable Earth, oceans, tiny evil skeletons, chonky dragons, well, he didn't false advertise. He didn't say anything wrong. He didn't overhype anything, because those things are clearly in the game. Could he then just go and release the darn thing 1 week after it was announced? You know, like Thursday? Honestly, based on the emoji activity, maybe? I don't know. What do you think? Now, part 4 of our Light No Fire trailer reveal analysis. Enjoy it. And, yeah, this should be it. This should be the final part. Yeah. Like, I should know now. But honestly, I don't know, because I'm recording this before I cut it. This could be the final part. We'll find out. Enjoy. Just a brilliant touch of detail, and knowing what Sean has to do to pull that off is just incredible. Sean and team. And there's steam coming out of here, too. Look at that. Really cool. That whole animation is just really cool. Wow. That whole scene is just ridiculous. Now, I want to draw your attention as we are now in a new biome, and we have a new biome indicator down here. So we're now in somewhat of a desert, and we have something that looks like a tree, like one of these trees. They seem to use these trees as a method of telling you what type of biome you are in. So that is the biome indicator, letting us know that we're in some type of tropical desert, or a wooded desert area, which is really cool. Now, why is it important that we be notified of what kind of biome we are in at all times? Well, this being a fantasy-styled adventure, I would imagine that you would have gear that would provide certain perks, benefits, and buffs depending on what biome you are currently in. So, for example, desert garb would probably be really cool and maybe help protect you from heat, maybe help protect you from other issues and problems. Maybe you can run faster when you were in a desert biome with this pair of boots, the desert runners, you know, whatever. That is a frequent indicator that we see. It changes very quickly and seamlessly when you switch between one biome to the other. And that is clearly going to be very, very important as we move along. Now we have, in this particular case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players now jutting across. Oh, 6. Hold on. There's another one over here. 6 players on the screen now, all at one time. That is a lot of players. So are they players? Are they NPCs? I don't know. So now we keep going up, and there's a 7th on the dragon. And wow, what an awesome scene here. What an awesome scene. That just looks cool. Very well done here. This looks great. Now, this is my favorite scene out of the whole trailer. Because if you're going to be playing around in a fantasy RPG world, right, then that means I need NPCs, and I need NPCs who are going to help tell a story. I need NPCs who are going to respond to my character. And here we have a place, a setting that is clearly created by these NPCs. I think it's very clear that these guys are NPCs. I think it's doubtful that they want to give you the idea that when you and your group of buddies walk into town, suddenly everybody is going to start kneeling before you. No, that's an NPC action. That's what's going to happen. And we are obviously in a place where we have some lore items. We have what appears to be some type of face. Who is this? And why is this face important? So that's a lore object. We have some symbols. This symbol actually looks very familiar to the pillar at the beginning of the trailer. We have this thing here. It seems like a light contraption of some kind. And you would notice that, are these fires, or is this another way of creating light? The color coming off of these do not appear to be fire to me, which is, again, playing into the title of the game, Light No Fire. And then you would also remember that NPC floating city I was talking about had a similar bluish light coming out of what looked to be like a tower. So we definitely have some really cool looking things happening here, and our bunny creatures are all happy to see us. They're beginning to kneel before us, which is really, really cool. And of course, we have what appears to be a player bunny creature. And then we have a player mole over here. I think that's a mole. This player here has a tail. So probably maybe a wolf or some type of weird bear-wolf hybrid character. Bears don't have long tails like that. So that is also another creature. So it looks like there's a lot of animals that you can play as. We've seen probably now about 6 or 7 different fantasy-inspired races where you have bunnies and moles and bears and maybe a wolf, and then we have a human. Although this human seems to have pointed ears, I would say that is an elf, not so much a human. And then also on top of that, we've got the antlered guys, and then we've got the satyr-horned guys. So we've got all sorts of different races to pick from. Character customization is going to be sweet. I really hope that there's a lot of variation between the bunny and the more animal type creatures, to really sort of like pick things like different ear types, different ear lengths, patterns and colors, to really create a bunny that feels like a unique bunny. Otherwise, everybody just looks like bunny people, because everybody knows bunnies are going to be the most played race in the game. Now, here we go. That looks awesome. Yeah, that's like some type of mole rat. That's awesome. Really digging it. That looks like a big wolf guy. And I'm sticking with elf. I think that's an elf up front, the pointed ears. Now, come around here, we have a new creature. This dude looks like a troll. Or a goblin, a giant goblin. It's really hard to tell what's going on here. Now, the next thing is we get to finally see what these chains to these light contraptions are, and they're attached to these balls, these big gold balls. Might remind you of Gravitino balls, which do emit light, right? Right. And what's happening here? Light. Interesting. Okay. So some more No Man's Sky crossover object lore. And maybe these are powering these devices that are producing light. Ooh, okay, cool. So we have these objects that are interacting together. If they're not gravitino balls, then they're weights. And why do we need to put weights on lanterns? That doesn't make any sense. We're trying to keep people from carrying away the lantern, or do the lanterns try to float every now and then? I don't know. But that definitely seems like a thing. So let's keep going, and we'll just let this play out a little bit more. And this guy will begin to respond to our players as he approaches. Now, I was sitting here thinking, is this guy a guard, or is he like the king or the ruler? And I'm beginning to suspect he's a guard because there is a hole here, right? And there's stairs. And kings don't sit on stairs. Guards sit on stairs. So this dude is guarding something. So he's an NPC with a very explicit role. He is going to protect whoever is in here. So that's really cool and fun and a little different than what we're used to in No Man's Sky. And he is going to sort of sit up and respond to our players as we approach. And this door begins to really fully come into view. And our characters clearly want to climb the staircase. So this guy's either going to challenge our entry, but considering everybody's bowing at us, I don't think he will challenge our entry. He'll probably let us on through. There is a few benches here, so maybe we could talk to this guy from the bench. I'm not sure. But it does seem like that's a place people talk. Now, just to make it very clear that whenever you get on the back of a dragon, you can have a sword equipped. So here we have back of dragon, the sword is equipped. The interesting thing really more or less is that it's the weapon that gets automatically equipped when you actually mount one of these guys. Now, whether or not you can actually use the sword in combat while flying on the back of a dragon or a wyvern or what have you, I don't know. But the weapons do get automatically equipped. That we've observed. So super cool that we see a sword there. I don't know if you can use the sword while mounted. Maybe you can use the sword while mounted on something like a wildebeest or a horse or something that's more of a ground. That would be pretty cool. Mounted combat is just, I think people like that concept in general. So that's really cool. So we'll continue to fly on through here. And again, we're just really getting some cool shots of how neat it will be to traverse. Now, one thing I do want to point out in this game is doing this way better than No Man's Sky is that the clouds, when you're up in the mountains, they appear as fog on the hillsides like this. So the fact that clouds aren't just sort of statically high up in the air, but rather they are actually interspersed with the terrain and the land, that's very realistic. That's exactly what you'd expect to see when you're in the mountains, that clouds will sort of push up against the mountains themselves, and it appears as fog to anybody who is down on the ground. That's clearly a cloud. You get the idea. So super cool that we get to see that here. So the clouds are just really doing great work here. And then we get this final parting shot where again we see this spherical object that is coming up out of the ground here, and you will notice that maze-like characteristic that we saw at the pillar at the beginning of the trailer is present on this ball. So whatever made the pillar at the beginning of the trailer is making this object here now that we're heading towards the end of it. And I think it's the anomaly. Here we go. I think I got that right. And that's what that looks like to me. That looks like the anomaly. Now, another thing that you might want to pay attention to is that, and we'll see it here in a little bit, but the atlas of this game, I want to call it the atlas, right, is basically a sphere. Not so much a diamond. It's a sphere that's held up by some type of pillar. That's what that object is. It's a sphere that's held up with some kind of pillar. And in No Man's Sky, you could take the Atlas path that was available right from day one of the game coming out, and you were able to follow it, and it would talk to you, and the Atlas was sick. Something was wrong with it. It was malfunctioning. Something's not right. You kind of get the whole idea. And you would get these remembrances, which contained all that you once remembered, all that you used to know. Really cool lore object. And that reminds me of that. So if I were pursuing the Atlas path in Light No Fire, I would have to traverse the world to find these. So following the Atlas path in Light No Fire would be an incredible journey, because you're no longer just finding different Atlas systems where the Atlas is present, which I think was always randomly sort of just put there, because once you were done, they kind of went away forever. Well, you can go to these different Atlas systems and you would approach it. Now you're going to have to cross over mountains, over valleys, over oceans, over what have you to find these. How many of these are there in the world? And since there's a very hard number to that, and we all live and inhabit the same planet, I would imagine that an overarching goal would be to visit all of them. And when you get there, what will you find? Is there a reward for finding all of them? How long would it take to get to each one? If we're not shortcutting through instant travel, fast travel, teleportation, this could be a years-long journey. Being the first to go to all of these would not happen after a couple of days. It could take months, maybe years, for a player to accomplish that goal. That's what gets me excited, and I won't be the first. I'll just let y'all know that now, because kids are going to be involved in my life very soon. So that's not happening. I won't be first. I cheer on those who would follow in my footsteps to follow the Atlas path and complete it first. It won't be me. But good luck, because that's super cool. That's what I'm thinking is the overarching goal of the game. Go to all of these. And maybe if you do, you unlock some type of supernatural power. There's a reason why we would want to pursue these. They're all over the planet. We don't know how many there are, and you need to find them. Maybe that helps us understand the nature of the planet that we are on. There should be a very solid reward this time. Sean, for finding all of these and following the Atlas path here in Light No Fire. Come on, man. Hook me up. I'm just telling you. There should be a significant lore reward for doing this. And this will take time. Unless people are cheating, which hopefully is impossible, which means online only. Sorry, single player folk. Which means online only. Maybe single player, you just take out the Atlas path and you call it a day. I don't know. Man, I really, give me that goal, man. Give me that carrot at the end of the stick. This gets me excited just thinking about this. Please, please, please. Yes, please. All right, let's keep going. Wow. Just gorgeous. Absolutely phenomenal. And now we get to the part of the trailer that everybody is asking about. And I'm going to tell you, you all are asking the wrong questions. So let's get into this. Did you hear that? Let's go back. Listen very carefully. That sounds like No Man's Sky, doesn't it? That sounds like a No Man's Sky trailer, like beat for beat. Listen to that whole phrase. It almost sounds like Supermoon from 65 Days of Static, or I think that's what it's called, is getting ready to come on. That is the Atlas. That has always been an Atlas sound. So that is a No Man's Sky-esquian sound. And there you go. So There's the title screen, Light No Fire. So let's talk about this, because this is the scene I think that has a lot of questions going on. Is this world connected in any way to No Man's Sky? Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. We saw plenty of evidence proving this. Everything from the monolith or the knowledge stone to the Atlas sound here when this thing appears, to a lot of the similarities between the world. But also, I want you to think about something else. If I'm Sean Murray, I need to be aware of the fact that proc gen is unpredictable. I need to be aware that it's not going to be perfect. We're not doing a hand-curated sort of thing. That's not what we're doing. We're creating something where the computer really has a lot of say as to what things look like and where things go. There's no way a team of 12 people can create and hand curate content across an entire planet. Can't do it. Can't do it. But we need to create interesting content, and there's stuff in Light No Fire that these developers have no clue about. That's what they'll tell you, and they're probably right. So how do we do this? How do we do it where it makes sense? And how do we do it in such a way where when a player encounters a problem or something that doesn't seem right as a product of the procedural generation, then we need a lore reason to help explain that. So the lore reason to help explain that is that the world of Light No Fire is a simulation that was created by the Atlas. The same Atlas that created the simulation that No Man's Sky takes place in. So I've had some people send me some really nice, interesting lore tidbits from No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's lore is based on the world of that simulation that the Atlas was running at that time. This seems to me to be a totally different simulation. It's created by the same being, the Atlas, and this Atlas seems more whole. This Atlas seems more perfect. This Atlas seems healthy. Oh, okay, so if we're going from a lore perspective and we don't have a malfunctioning Atlas that for whatever reason is having a hard time right now, then this is an Atlas that is capable of producing more realistic worlds, and this Atlas seems to be focused entirely on one planet and not a universe. So this to me seems like an Atlas that is not at its death, but rather at its infancy. Oh, at its infancy. Now, the next thing is the question of, well, who are the players? And, you know, Steam describes the players as not heroes, whatever that means. Are we the bad guys? Is the Atlas the good guy all this time? And we're, like, raging against the machine? Like, what's happening here? I don't know. Now, the thing is like, now that we understand that, okay, the world that we are playing in the game is itself a simulation, so when things look weird or wonky, oh, that's just the lore of the game. You're in a simulation, there's going to be weird, wonky things happening, and the lore of the game explains that. Because the creators of this game cannot predict everything you will come across. There's a lot of things they could do to test, but there's not a lot of things they could do to ensure a perfect experience from beginning to end. They can't. It's a procedurally generated world. They did not hand curate the world. So it has to be a simulation. So why not let the Atlas continue to be the center figure of this particular game? This is definitely in the No Man's Sky universe. I don't think there's any question about it. Now, there's been a lot to be said about the idea that there is a person here on the thumb looking up at the Atlas. Well, yeah. So, like, whenever you look at any title art for No Man's Sky, there's the Atlas front and center, and the player characters are looking at it. They are drawn to it. That is where they will find themselves. You know, the player character will learn about who they were, where they came from, what's happening in this world, and trying to understand the universe and everything that's going on. So we are still in pursuit of this Atlas. So every single No Man's Sky title cover has that. You have the people looking at the Atlas that's in the distance. But this time, This is very different. The Atlas is no longer in the distance. This time, the player is in the distance, near or underneath, reaching up towards the Atlas. It is our goal to get there. For one reason or another, we are reaching desperately for it. Why? Because that's who we are. We are connected to the Atlas one way or another. We are intrinsically connected to it. Is the Atlas our creator, or is it our prison guard? What's happening here? Are we at conflict with the Atlas, or is the Atlas something that helps us? Now, one other thing that you need to see here on this title cover, if you look at any other title cover or box art from No Man's Sky, any other one, it's very colorful. The colors are very bright, very vibrant. You see life. This title card does not show that. It looks bleak. It's dark. It's probably night. There's a sense of foreboding. There's clouds in the air. You cannot make out any detail to the rocky surface below. A hand ominously, is it us? Is it not? What's going on here? Is reaching for a celestial object in the sky, and we are greeted with a title that says "Light No Fire," meaning don't start problems. Don't rage against the machine? I don't know. But this title card is very dark. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like the book covers that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing different book covers and the like. So yeah, there's that problem too. So there's a lot happening in this title card that really ought to sort of spark conversation. Why is it so dark? What's happening here? Why are we playing in such a different direction? They have a lot of great artists over there at Hello Games. So this is not by accident. It was not an oversight. This is an intentional choice. So I think one of two things could be happening. People are going to be asking the question, is Light No Fire a prequel to No Man's Sky, or is it a sequel to No Man's Sky? And the answer is we have no idea. It could be either or. Maybe this is like the origin story of the Atlas, and we're the first simulation. That'd be cool. Or maybe we know No Man's Sky is getting an update soon. It's a pretty impressive update by the brief look at it that we had. Maybe they introduce a story that leads us towards Light No Fire, a way to win No Man's Sky and get that ultimate lore payoff that people have wanted for so long with No Man's Sky. And essentially, the Atlas is rebirthed, and that simulation of the universe ends. And what we're seeing with Light No Fire is a rebirthed Atlas that is in an infancy building towards a prime. And Light No Fire could be a warning. Don't rage against the machine, right? I don't know. It could be about the fantasy sort of blight or shadow world that could be like emanating here in the title card and what we saw in that one night scene in the entire trailer. And that's pretty neat. But yeah, there's a lot to it that we could take a look at here and begin to analyze and break down. So all in all, I've been talking to you all for about an hour and 43 minutes. This is probably the most comprehensive and in-depth trailer analysis video and theory. If you actually stayed to watch this entire video, you're welcome, I guess, because I probably talked way too much on this. I spent an hour and 45 minutes, essentially, not even, and I got to cut this video down a little bit. But I spent a long time analyzing this trailer, and it's literally a 2-minute trailer. We talked about a lot. So, yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys are excited and hyped like I am. There's a lot going on in this trailer, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more. And I'm actually now curious about how No Man's Sky will change and adapt, knowing that Light No Fire is on the way. Are we going to get story? Are we actually going to finish a No Man's Sky story? Is there actually going to be a proper win condition? Do I need to boot up No Man's Sky and play it? Would you want me to watch, like, would you guys want to watch me play No Man's Sky again? I mean, I haven't played it in years, so it'll be like a new game to me. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.